round of applause for our newest fun member. Thank you. Oh, we're quiet? Oh, it's so quiet. Why is it so quiet? This is radio. We need to be heard. There we go. So, welcome once again to another episode of Those Thrilling Days of Yesteryear, a live recreation of some of your favorite shows from the golden age of radio. Well, so last month, as fans of old time radio know, last month was Jack Benny month. Every year on Those Were the Days radio, they play all Jack Benny shows. The last couple of years, we've done Jack Benny specials, and it just seemed with our schedule that it fit better to slide our Jack Benny stuff into March. Basically because one of these shows was done on St. Patrick's Day. So it just seems right. So, however, we were always intrigued that the two kingpins of radio comedy were Jack Benny and Fred Allen, and became a legendary feud that lasted for 20-some years, but it was all, of course, a publicity stunt and made up. They were really the best of friends. But they did cameos. They showed up on each other's shows as guest stars, getting into fights and insulting and bickering with each other. And yet, it was only a few times when they really went toe-to-toe to prove who was the better comedian. And we will find out today as they trade places. That's right. Because we found episodes where Jack shows just how easy it is to do a show like Fred Allen's, and he'll prove it to you by doing his own version. And also, Fred, at the same point, would point out on a future show, not his, but a show called The Big Show, that was hosted by Talulah Bankhead, he does his own take on Jack Benny's program. And in between, we will have a special excerpt from a Jack Benny program that explains how they actually met and why this bitter feud began. So, while you are listening, we will attempt to recreate this show as best as we can with as it aired back in those days of 1946, 1950, and 1953. And we will do our best to recreate with sound effects, music, and even a clarinet. So while you're listening, you might imagine that you are one of those lucky few to be sitting in the studio audience as they watch their favorite performers do their thing. Or imagine that you are sitting back. Oh yes, I've been getting cued to make sure your cell phones are turned off because they did not exist back then. It would just ruin the atmosphere, because if you imagine you're sitting in the old living room in front of the old Philco radio and suddenly the cell phone rings, it's not going to work. But instead, imagine that you're sitting there listening to the old radio with the family in the living room, the lights are turned down, and you're waiting for your favorite show to begin. So join us now as we take you back to those thrilling days of yesteryear.
The Jack Benny Program. Starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Bill Harris, Rochester, and yours truly, Don Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, Tuesday, March 17th is St. Patrick's Day. As you all know, St. Patrick drove the stakes out of Ireland. So today we bring you a man who was run out of Waukegan, Jack Benny.
I'm glad you said man. And thank you, thank you. Hello again, this is Jack Benny talking in Don. For your information, I wasn't run out of Waukegan. It was merely a request by the city fathers, and mine. And being a sharp guy, I took the hint and 2 shirts and left. But let's not talk about me. After all, this is St. Patty's Day. That's why I'm wearing the shamrock on my lapel.
Shamrock?
Yes.
That's a moth that took a bite out of that $12 suit and turned green.
Mary, don't be funny. That's a very good suit. Taste it. Feel it. And why aren't you wearing something green today?
I am wearing something green. See?
Oh, yes. What is it?
It's that gold bracelet you gave me for Christmas.
Mary, that's an old joke.
All I know is I polish my other bracelets. This one the gardener takes care of.
Well, that's appreciation. After all, Mary, it wasn't easy getting that bracelet. Spent over 3 hours at that claw machine. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know it was going to be that good. Well, it's
Hey, Jackson.
What?
Hey, you were talking about St. Patrick's Day. Did I ever tell you the one about that friend of mine who got an Irish car?
An Irish car?
Yeah. Every time you blow a horn, it plays, Ireland must be heaven, 'cause my motor came from there. Oh, Harris, you're the Barry Fitzgerald of the body size.
Well, pull off your garters and get out of here, will you? I mean, put on your garters, rather, and get out of here. He always tries to run one.
Say, Jack,
What?
since this is St. Patrick's Day, don't you think we ought to
This
do a little
program is
play?
starting out like we had no rehearsal at all. You want to know something? We didn't. Everybody walks in anytime they want to. Hey, Jackson, they holler. What is it? Go on. What is it?
Well, Jack, this being St. Patrick's Day, don't you think we ought to do a little play for our Irish listeners?
Well, we're going to be doing better than that, Don. Tonight, for the very first time since his release from the Navy, Dennis Day, the smiling Irish songbird, will be back with us.
Oh, so the kid's coming back, huh, Jackson?
Yep.
Gosh, Jack, Dennis has been gone for 2 years. I'll bet the Navy has changed him a lot.
Well, I'll bet it has too. Anyway, he ought to be here by now. I think I'll call his house and see what's keeping him.
Say, Mabel,
What is it, Gertrude?
Mr. Benny's line is flashing.
Yeah, I wonder what Bloomer girl wants now.
I'll find out. Hello, Mr. Benny. Huh? Dennis Day. What's his number? Okay, I'll call you back when I get him. Say, Mabel, did you hear Mr. Benny's program last night?
Yeah, Ray Milland was on, and gosh, he's wonderful. Even if he is a lost weekend.
Listen, Mabel, if you think the land is a lost weekend, you should have a date with Benny.
Those are my sentiments exactly. You want to know something, Gertrude?
What?
The contest has been over for 6 weeks, and I still can't stand him.
Yeah. You know, Mabel, 2 weeks ago he asked me to go to the Academy Award ceremonies, but I had another date.
Gee, Gertrude, how come Mr. Benny always asks you to all those swanky affairs?
Well, why shouldn't he? After all, my mother gave him the best years of her life.
Oh. You know, I wouldn't mind going out on a date with Mr. Benny, but he's a sneaky type.
Sneaky?
Yeah, he's the kind who lures an unsuspecting girl into his car, drives her out to a dark spot, pretends he's out of gas, stops the car, and then spends the next 2 hours talking about his picture. It's enough to discourage a person, believe me.
I'll say. You know, Mabel, I've got a confession to make. Once I let Mr. Benny kiss me.
My Gertrude, gear shift. Say, tell me, Gertrude, what are his kisses like?
Well, it's like when you're blowing bubble gum and the bubble collapses against your face.
Well, between you and me, I'd rather have the gum.
Yeah. Gee, Dennis Day's number doesn't answer. I better tell Blue Eyes about it.
Hello? Oh? Well, try him again later, Gertrude. Goodbye. Oh, say, Gertrude, what are you doing tonight? Tomorrow night? Tuesday night? Wednesday night? Thursday night? Christmas Eve? Oh, you're going over to visit your mother. Well, don't be surprised when you walk in, sister. Goodbye. Well, we might as well get on with the show until Dennis gets here. Come on, Phil. Let's have a number, will you? Yes, sir, that was Who's Sorry Now, played by Phil Harris and his Hour of Harm Orchestra. Say, Phil, you know this is St. Paddy's Day. Why didn't you do something for that occasion, something Irish?
I did. I put a harp in my band.
Oh, yes. You've got a girl playing it. Gee, you know, her fingers must get callous and sore plucking on all those strings.
Well, it's her own fault, Jackson. She forgot her bow. So, let her do the best she can.
He's our orchestra leader for 10 years now. Phil, you don't use him. Come in.
I beg your pardon, but hello again.
Dennis! Dennis Day! Welcome back, kid. Welcome back. Gee, it's good to see you. Gosh, Mary, doesn't he look wonderful?
He sure does.
Oh boy, I never expected this. Are you going to kiss me too, Miss Livingston?
Why, certainly, Dennis.
Doggone, Dennis, I can't get over it. You look so mature. You've changed so.
Sure he's changed, Jackson. This kid's been in the Navy for 2 years. He's grown up.
Yeah, up.
Dennis, tell us about yourself. Did you enjoy your 2 years in the Navy?
I sure did, Miss Livingston. The Navy's wonderful. I went all over the South Pacific and I saw plenty.
I imagine you did, kid. Say, I'll bet you had a lot of fun, too. Say, Dennis, I've been wanting to ask you something. Tell me, kid, how about those waves?
That's what made me seasick.
Yeah, grown up.
Yeah. You know, Dennis, I was all over the South Pacific, too, and I ran into some pretty rough seas. In fact, I was once tossed overboard.
Oh, I was tossed overboard lots of times.
You were?
Yeah, but the captain made the fellas cut it out.
Dennis, the boys kept throwing you overboard? That's terrible.
Oh, it wasn't so bad. The Japs kept throwing me back.
He was the pickle in the middle.
Yeah.
Say, Dennis, when you first joined the Navy, how did they know how to classify you? I mean, how did they know what rank to give you?
Well, that was easy, Miss Livingston. First, I had to fill out a lot of forms, answer a lot of questions. Then for 2 days, they gave me a written test.
For 2 days? Well, that must have been quite a test.
And after it was all over, they made me an ensign.
An ensign? An ensign?
Yeah, I wonder what they would have made me if I passed.
Maybe it's just as well you didn't. We won the war this way. Well, Dennis, we're all anxious to hear you sing again. How about it?
Well, gee, Mr. Benny, I don't know why you want me to do a song. You've already got 2 singers.
2 singers? What are you talking about, kid?
You know, those 2 fellows who sing...
Oh, them. Well, Dennis, they're not exactly singers. You see, they're tobacco auctioneers. Dennis, we've changed sponsors, you see. We changed sponsors after you left. Well, tell them about it, Don.
Okay. Now, Dennis, you studied Morse code in the Navy, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now listen to this. Tick, 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 tick. What does that mean?
Tick, 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 tick.
Yes, tick, 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 tick.
Tick, 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 tick.
What are you 2 talking about?
I don't know about him, but I've got a loose tooth.
Oh.
Dennis, tick, 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 tick stands for LSMFT.
Oh.
Now, what does LSMFT stand for?
Tick, 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 tick.
No, Dennis. LSMFT stands for Lucky Strike, means fine tobacco. So round, so firm, so fully packed, so free and easy on the draw.
Oh.
Yes.
And not only that, Lucky Strikes are made of the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobacco.
And that, Dennis, is the whole story.
Oh, boy. I hope they make a picture out of it.
Yes, starring Sonny Puffs. Well, come on, Dennis, we all want to hear a song. What's it gonna be?
Well, since today is St. Patrick's Day, I thought I'm going to sing McNamara's Band.
Good. Go ahead.
Oh, me name is McNamara, and I'm the leader of the band. Although a few in numbers, we're the finest in the land. We play at wakes and weddings and at every fancy ball. And when we play the funerals, we play the march from Saul. Oh, the drums go banging, the cymbals clanging, the horns they blaze away. McCarthy plays the old bassoon, while I the pipes do play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, Toulouse the flute, and the music is something grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Da-da-da-da. Oh, right now we're rehearsing for a very swell affair. The annual celebration, all the gentry will be there. When General Grant to Ireland came, he took me by the hand. Says he, I never saw the likes of McNamara's band. Oh, the bundle banging, the cymbals clanging, the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon, when I the pipes to play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, Toulouse the flute, and the music is something grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. The ta-ta-ta. drum. And when I march along the street, the ladies all think I'm grand. They shout, there's Uncle Julius playing with an Irish band. Oh, the drums go bang and the cymbals clang and the horns they blaze away. McCarthy pumps the old bassoon while I the pipes to play. Oh, Hennessy, Tennessee, Talulah the flute, and the music is something grand. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band. Sure, it is the grandest band in the world, and if anyone doesn't agree with me, just to be sociable, I'll fight the best band in the house. And I'm not long for this world. A credit to old Ireland is McNamara's band.
That was McNamara's band, sung by that wee broth of a lad, Dennis Day. And Dennis, me boy, sure and begorra, I'm proud of you, lad, as proud as I am of me father Shillelagh. But Dennis, seriously, I want to congratulate you and all the Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you. And a good yontif to you too.
You what?
Zorzian McGlick and a wee day shortman de Londoner.
Thank you, Dennis, and now...
Hey, Mr. Benny, I was meaning to ask you, how's Mr. Allen?
Who?
Fred Allen.
Well, kid, it was nice seeing you again.
No, Phil. In fact, I'm glad you brought it up. Dennis, I'm happy to tell you that Fred Allen has the same old program, the same old jokes, the same old...
Now wait a minute, Jack. That's not fair. I've heard all of Fred's programs, and they've been very funny.
Yeah, Mary, I wouldn't mind if his jokes just laid there. But they crawl out of the radio and stain your rug. Some program.
Well, that just shows what you know, Jackson. I think the funniest thing on radio is Allen's Alley.
Oh, you do, huh?
I think so, too.
Oh, you do, huh?
I think so too.
Oh, you do, huh?
I think Mr. Benny is much funnier than Mr. Allen.
I think so, too.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yes, I do. And what's so great about Allen's Alley? Anyone with half an ounce of talent can do that.
Oh, yeah? I'd like to see you do it.
Well, I'll just show you, sister. Phil, get your band ready while I put this clothespin on my nose so I'll sound like Fred Allen. Now, I'll go down the alley, and you kids will play the parts of the people who live there. Okay, Phil, music. And so, Kenny Delmar, I won't say it's been very windy, but last night...
Oh, Mr. Allen! Mr. Allen!
Well, if it isn't Cleveland. Gee whiz, Cleveland. Kenny Delmar and I were just discussing the high wind we've been having here.
Well, Mama says that all the wind is caused by the pickets.
The pickets?
Yes, she says they carry their sides too high and not too fast. And Mama also says...
Just a minute, Cleveland. I have a brother-in-law in the last row who's not quite through laughing. Anyway, I imagine your brother knows all about pickets. I understand she's been picketing Lindsay's restaurant because the lamb chops look better in their panties than she does in slacks.
Oh, Mama says...
Oh, I don't know. You write this stuff on Thursday, and then on Sunday, nothing happens. Oh, what was that, Cleveland?
Oh, Mama doesn't wear slacks anymore.
Oh, she doesn't. Well, why did she stop wearing slacks?
A policeman gave her a ticket for pulling a trailer without a license.
Well, so much for your mother and her homegrown bustle. We've got to get down to Benny's Boulevard.
And what is your question for tonight?
Our question is Fred Allen or Jack Benny, the better comedian?
Shall we leave?
As one of my eyes said to the other, let's pack our bags and go. Well, I see Senator Harris's home. There's a 10-gallon hat and a 5-gallon jug on the porch. Let's knock on the bunghole and see what he's got to say.
Somebody now.
Yes.
Harris is the name, Senator Harris, that is. I'm from the West.
From the West, eh?
If I'm east of the Mississippi River, I'm in enemy territory. I hate the East. My favorite actress is Mae West.
Look.
No man living can make me see Go Eastland.
All I said.
I never go out of the house on Easter Sunday.
Senator.
When I bake bread, I won't use yeast.
That's yeast.
I thought you'd get a rise out of it.
Oh.
Ease up, son. What have you got on your mind? This is a free country.
Oh, I'm trying.
Never saw anyone like this. Burning your mouth just like the front doors of General Motors. Wide open, but nothing's coming out.
Oh, my turn? Oh, well, Senator, the question tonight is, who's the better comedian, Fred Allen or Jack Benny?
I brought it up in the Senate. Now watch this one, son. It's a tricky. I brought it up in the Senate, and it made Senator Tidings glad. Glad tidings. That's a pun, son.
I heard it.
That's an anecdote, you nanny goat.
Now, wait a minute.
You're like a midget, son. Everything goes over your head. Own up, son. You got a mind like a ticker.
What?
Drunk, that is.
Look, Senator, just tell me which comedian you like best, Allen or Benny?
Where is Allen from?
Boston.
How about Benny?
He's from Waukegan.
Waukegan is west of Boston, ain't it?
Yes.
Benny's the one. So long, son.
So long.
In the words of Horace Greeley, go west, young man. West, that is. So long.
So long.
So long.
So long.
So long.
Where's that sound effects man? Always late. Late, that is. Well, I suppose the senator has gone back to his newspaper. He spends all night reading Westbrook Peddler. Well, I wonder if Titus Day is at home. He's always so moody.
Howdy, Bub.
Oh. Well, Mr. Day, I see you're at home.
Yep, day in and days out. Days in.
I see. But say, your eyes look all red.
Been crying, Bub. Reading a sad book.
What's the title of it?
Forever Amber.
But Titus, Forever Amber isn't a sad book.
It is when you're my age, Bub.
Well, I have a very important question to ask you tonight. Who do you think is a better comedian, Fred Allen or Jack Benny?
Well, Bub, that's a moot question.
Moot question.
Yep. Moot be Allen, moot be Benny.
I see. Well, which one do you consider the better comedian?
Never hear 'em myself. When they come on, I put my radio out in the hen house.
In the hen house, why?
Steps up production. Every time Allen and Benny lay an egg, my hens try to match it.
Well, that really increases your egg production?
Did up to last Sunday.
Well, what happened last Sunday?
Well, all my hens killed themselves straining. So long, boss.
Well, I guess Mr. Day has his troubles, just like the city folk. Well, let's try this next house.
Pickle in the middle and the mustard on top, just the way you like them, and they're all red hot.
Ah, Mr. Kitzel.
You were expecting Fibber McGee and Molotov?
Well, tell me, Mr. Kitzel, how is the hot dog business?
Very good, except for one thing. My customers have trouble making up their minds.
Making up their minds to what?
Whether they want the pickle in the middle or the mustard on top, or the mustard in the middle and the pickle on top.
Oh, I can see where that would pose quite a problem. Anyway, what I'm trying to find out tonight is, who do you think is the better comedian, Fred Allen or Jack Benny?
In mine house, that is making arguments. My wife, Talulah, is liking Fred Allen.
And you?
I am liking the great Gildenstein.
Oh, the great Gildersleeve, really?
Yes. When Gildenstein is broadcasting, Talulah is leaving the room.
Oh, I see.
When Fred Allen is broadcasting, I am leaving the room.
Oh, what happens when Jack Benny is broadcasting?
The radio is leaving the room.
What?
Pickle in the middle and the mustard on top, just the way you like it when they're all red hot.
I suppose Mr. Kitzel's life would be complete if people could just make up their minds where they want the mustard. Well, here's the last house in the alley. I wonder what a knock here will bring.
Greetings all, for it's time to play. Ferocious here with Rondolay.
You have more poems for us tonight?
Oh, indubitably. Have you heard? Said the rum to the gin. I understand. You're going steady with Ray Milan.
Oh?
Or, I said to myself, this is not for me, as I picked up my dice and rolled a 3.
Oh?
Or, my mother has rolled her stockings down since she heard Van Johnson's back in town.
That does it. Tonight we're trying to find out who is the better comedian, Fred Allen or Jack Benny.
Precisely why I'm here. I have written a poem.
And what, wait till I get this on tighter. And what is your comedian's poem called?
Allen or Benny?
Oh, how does it go?
Allen or Benny, the question rings, and the nation is put to the test. Dennis bags and Benny is cheap, and they're both on Sunday night for millions of people from coast to coast tune in to hear them fight. And often I wondered just what it means as they hurl their epitaphs, for while they're knocking each other out, Castalia gets all the laughs.
Well, I never thought. Thank you, Rochester Openjaw. And now Phil Harris and his No Good Wind Orchestra will play Onesie Twosie, because that's as high as they can count. Take it, boys! Oh, Dennis!
Howdy, Bub.
Oh, we're through with all of that.
Oh,
Dennis, I wanted to tell you that we're all very happy to have you back with us again.
I'm glad to be back, Mr. Benny. And I want to thank Larry Stevens for doing such a swell job on the show while I was away.
Well, we all feel the same way, Dennis. Good night, folks.
The Jack Benny program presented by Lucky Strikes. The Lucky Strike program starring Jack Benny with Mary Livingston, Phil Harris, Rochester, Dennis Day, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back a few hours. It's just before our Sunday rehearsal, and Jack is in his dressing room waiting for his guest star to appear.
Oh, Rochester, has Fred Allen arrived?
No, sir. Say, boss, Mr. Allen has been off the air for a long time, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
You and he never did get along. How come you have him on this program?
Well, Rochester, I'll admit it took me a long time to make up my mind. I didn't feel sorry for Mr. Allen when he lost his job, and I wasn't particularly upset when he was evicted from his house. But last week, when I saw him standing on the corner of Sunset and Doheny selling maps to movie stars' homes, I wept. He looked awful standing out there selling those maps. His suit was so ragged, it looked like he had bought it one flight up and then he fell down the stairs.
No kidding, boss? Does it really look that bad?
Rochester, you wouldn't believe this, but Allen is so weak that he is talking through his mouth now. He hasn't the strength to push the words up through his nose. Oh, it's pathetic.
Well, under these circumstances, I suppose you're going to give him a very generous check.
Well, a man shouldn't let his sympathies override his good judgment in business. I'm going to pay him according to the number of laughs he gets.
And you better watch it, boss. He's liable to ad-lib himself right up to the upper bracket.
Listen, Allen couldn't ad-lib the word please if it was preceded by give me a package of Beeman's Pepsin chewing gum. So I'm not worried about what...
Oh, Jack!
Oh, what is it, Don?
Well, everyone's out on stage waiting for you.
Oh, good. Has Fred Allen arrived yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, well, I'll be out in a minute. Gee, I can't understand what's keeping Fred.
Oh, Jack, take it easy. He'll be here any minute.
Well, when we go to court, I'm certainly going to bring it up about him being late. Oh, Rochester, will you run out and see if you can find Mr. Allen? Maybe he's at Lyman's or at the Derby.
Yes, sir.
Gee, that Allen is certainly a thoughtless guy. He's been doing things like this to me since the day I first met him.
Jack, I've been with you for so many years, and I never knew how you first met Fred Allen.
Oh, it happened in Boston a long time ago.
Well, tell me about it, Jack.
All right, Don. It was many, many years ago, when vaudeville was at its height. I was a headliner at the Metropolitan Theater in Boston. One night after the supper show, I was sitting in my dressing room, resting from my 7th encore. I was removing my makeup. Gosh, they were a wonderful audience tonight. Maybe take 7 bows. Makeup is hard to get off. Gee, a gray hair. Imagine me getting a gray hair. This is the first year I'm 39. Well, I'll just... Come in.
Mr. Benny?
Yes?
Mr. Benny, my name is Fred Allen.
Uh-huh.
I'm appearing here at the Metropolitan.
Oh, that's funny. I don't remember any Fred Allen on this bill.
I'm the opening act.
Oh, Well, I thought the opening act was Fink's Mule.
I took my makeup off.
Oh, so you're with Fink's Mule?
Uh-huh. May I sit down?
Yes, but not too close. Now, what can I do for you, young man?
Well, Mr. Benny, I'm a great admirer of yours, sir, and I want to be a smart, sophisticated comedian like you.
Oh, well then you're a comedian.
Yes, I'm just mule delineating for the time being. I'm really a juggler, but I want to give up juggling because you can't get any steady bookings.
Oh, I don't know. Now, my brother worked for a bank, juggled their books, and got 20 years. See, if you want to be a comedian, Alan, you better watch it. You see, you'll let that one get past you.
Oh, it didn't get past me, Mr. Benny. I've been around mules so long I didn't notice it.
Well, Mr. Allen, if you're a juggler, I hardly think you have the experience to become a great comedian.
Oh, sir, I never hope to be as great a comedian as you are, sir. But I do think with a little perseverance and some polish, mark you, I might become another Maury Amsterdam.
Well, you should be able to get laughs, Alan. You're ugly enough.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Tell me, Mr. Benny, what do you think of this new entertainment medium that's just starting up? This thing called radio.
Well, I've been giving it a lot of thought. In fact, I already have an idea for a radio program.
You have?
Yes. On my program each week, I'll visit a place called Benny's Boulevard, where I'll stop knocking on doors and ask topical questions of 4 people.
4 people?
Yes, a Southern senator, a rube who says howdy bub, a Bronx housewife, and an Irishman.
Gosh, what a novel idea for radio. You know, that might even replace the street singer.
Yes. Well, you'll have to excuse me now, Alan. I have to dress for dinner.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Benny, and thank you so much, sir, for your help. I will always treasure the memory of this meeting the greatest comedian in the world, sir.
Thank you. And that, Don, is how I first met Fred Allen, and why I dislike him so much.
Jack, you mean?
Yes, he stole my radio idea and called it Allen's Allen. Gee, I wonder if Rochester has found him yet.
Say, waiter, I'll have another cup.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Allen. I've been looking all over for you.
Oh, hello, Rochester. Say, I was just getting ready to go over to the studio.
Well, let's hurry. Mr. Benny's awfully upset. Come on, I'll show you the shortcut to CBS.
Good. You know, Rochester, I'm rather surprised that you're still with Mr. Benny. I'm surprised you're his valet. I thought you'd quit long ago.
Oh, it ain't such a bad job. I get 3 meals a day, the work's not too hard, and I have a nice place to sleep.
I know, but what about money?
Pardon?
Money. What happens on payday?
Oh, he gives me a whip in a chair and tells me to go get it from the Wildcat.
Yes. After all these years, Rochester, you'd think Benny would change. But he's just as bad as when I first met him in Boston many years ago.
I never did hear about how you two first met. Will you tell me about it, Mr. Allen?
Are you really interested? Are you really?
Uh-huh.
Then I shall be glad to tell you, Rochester. It happened many, many years ago. I was headlining at the Metropolitan Theater in Boston, and one evening after the supper show, I was sitting in my dressing room removing my makeup. Ah, gad, what a show. I'm all tired out from blowing kisses to the audience. 11 encores before I finally begged off. Come in.
Mr. Allen?
Yes?
My name's Jack Benny.
Well, I'm glad you're here. It's the cold water faucet that's leaking.
No, I'm not the plumber. See, I'm appearing here on the vaudeville bill with you.
Jack Benny. Jack Benny's Jack. Say, I didn't see your name in the program.
Oh, I'm in the opening act.
But the show opens with Japanese flash act. Yamaguchi and Takamura. Gosh, they're wonderful. The way they lie on their backs and juggle that big barrel with their feet.
I know. And inside of that barrel, me.
No.
Oh, yes, Mr. Allen. While they're balancing that barrel and kicking it up in the air, I'm curled up inside with my violin, playing Ireland Must Be Heaven because my mother comes from there.
What an inspired touch. I can just hear the music coming out through the bunghole. Well, so much for flattery. Well, now, what can I do for you, son?
Well, Mr. Allen, sir, you've got to help me. I want to be a great comedian like you. I want to make a lot of money. A lot of money.
But, Benny, why knock yourself out to make a lot of money? You'll only spend it.
No. No, Mr. Allen, I saved my money. Here, look.
Say, that's a peculiar-looking wallet you have there.
It's a baby wildcat. It had strep throat. Anyway, Mr. Allen, I wanted to be a great comedian like you.
Well, if you're so anxious to earn big money, why don't you turn to radio?
Radio?
Yes, it's a gold mine. Say, I'm working on an idea for a program myself. Now, my idea is this. I'll be the star, you see, and I'll have a valet, a very naive young boy singer, a girl to insult me, a drunken orchestra leader, and a fat announcer.
Gee, that sounds like a wonderful idea, Mr. Allen, and I hope you have a lot of luck with it. Goodbye.
And that's how I first met your boss, Rochester.
You mean?
Yes, Rochester. Mr. Benny stole my radio idea, crawled out of his barrel, said goodbye to Yamaguchi and Takamura, crawled out through the bunghole. He became a big success on the air, sold himself to CBS for $2 million, while today I am a bum. How fickle fate can be.
Well, here's the studio, Mr. Allen. Let's go in.
No, Rochester. I can't go in.
What?
I can't do it, Rochester. I can't let Benny give me a job. I may be a derelict, down and out, but I've still got my pride.
But Mr. Allen!
No, I'm sorry, Rochester. I just can't do it.
But Mr. Allen, you haven't got any money. How are you gonna live?
Don't worry about me. I'll get along. Maps! Get your maps to the movie stars' homes! James Mason, Ronald Coleman, Mr. and Mrs. Gary Cooper, Mr. and Mrs. Robert Taylor.
Mary, that's the worst thing anyone has ever done to me. I'll never forgive Fred for not showing up.
Oh, Jack, stop complaining. You had a good program without him.
I know, but how could he do a thing like that?
All right, don't walk so fast I can't keep up with you.
Okay.
Hey, mister, would you like to buy a map to the movie stars' homes?
Don't you talk to me, stupid man. Come on, Mary.
Well, you might have at least said hello to Portland. She's on the other corner.
Hello, Portland. How are you going?
Ladies and gentlemen, somewhere there's a boy who needs affection, advice, and guidance. But most of all, a boy needs a friend, a big brother. So why not you? Observe National Big Brother Week by volunteering your services now. Contact Big Brothers at Broad Street Station, Philadelphia 3, Pennsylvania. And be sure to hear Dennis Day in A Day in the Life of Dennis Day. Stay tuned for the Amos and Andy Show, which follows immediately. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
For the next 30 minutes, this program will present in person such bright stars as
Fred Allen,
Jimmy Durante,
Portland Hoffa,
Frankie Lane,
Ethel Merman,
Danny Thomas, Meredith Wilson.
and my name, darlings, is Talulah Bankhead.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Big Show. The Big Show. 30 minutes with the most scintillating personalities of the entertainment world, brought to you this Sunday and every Sunday at this same time as the Sunday feature of 5 Show Festival. NBC's star-studded 5-night-a-week program extravaganza. Tonight's Big Show is presenting such top-flight stars as Fred Allen, Mindy Carson, Jimmy Durante, Portland Hoffa, Frankie Lane, Ethel Merman, Danny Thomas, and Meredith Wilson. And here is your hostess, the glamorous, unpredictable Talulah Bankhead.
Thank you, darlings. This is Radio 1950, the greatest biggest stars of our time on one big program. And the most fabulous part of this, darlings, is that every Sunday we will present other stars of the same magnitude. Pardon me if I sound like a name dropper, but let's listen to 3 or 4 of the names we've lined up for next week's show. Groucho Marx, Fanny Bryce, Jane Powell, and Ezio Pinza. Well now, don't just sit there with your mouths open, darlings. I know what you're thinking. You think such a radio show every week is impossible. And I'm sure that after you hear our first broadcast, you're going to say, that show was impossible. Oh no, that doesn't sound fine at all. But NBC says nothing is impossible. All it takes is courage, vision, and a king-size bundle of dough. Each week, there will be comedy, drama, music, all performed by the biggest stars of our time. Of course, darlings, now and then a clinker may sneak in, but we're going to do...
Just a minute. I heard that remark, and I resemble it.
Oh, Fred Allen! Fred.
Yeah?
Come on out here. What are you doing in that orchestra?
Well, NBC has tried me on radio, and they've tried me on television. Now, while they're waiting for a new medium to come along, they're trying me on this special assignment with my clarinet. Sort of freelancing.
I see, darling. Now, what special assignment?
Well, first the announcer, Ed Hurley, he has to ad-lib something about...
This portion of the program is brought to you by RCA Victor, world leader in radio. First in recorded music, first in television, and by the Whitehall Pharmaceutical Company, makers of Anacin, Colinos, Bicidol, and other fine drug products.
And then I'm supposed to play... And then, the first time you ever heard had a half a tone chime. And then I'm supposed to say, this is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Fred, my darling, you fool!
Oh, yes.
It's so nice to have you back on radio. I've missed you.
Oh, so you are the one. According to Hooper, you are the one.
No, darling, we've all missed you. Why don't you come back, Fred?
Well, I'll tell you, darling, I have been dabbling in something which, for want of a better name, we shall call television.
Please, darling, people are eating.
Well, I'm sorry. Say, you didn't by any chance happen to see me on my first television show, did you?
No, I didn't, Fred.
Oh, you weren't home?
Oh, yes, I was home, darling.
Oh, no set, darling?
No guts, darling.
Well, you know, television's a new medium. And I have discovered why they call it a medium, because nothing is well done. Or very little.
Oh, darling, I think you're so funny.
So you are the one.
No, Fred, no, seriously speaking, darling.
Well, as if we haven't been, so what else do we do now?
Well, no, why did you leave radio?
Well, I'll tell you, Talulah. They wanted me to do one of those programs where you call up people on the telephone and ask them questions and give them prizes, you see. And that's why I quit and went into television.
Do you mean?
Yes, it was a choice between the medium and the telephone.
Wait for laughs. Oh, excuse me, darling. I'm sorry.
No, you don't read the stuff in parentheses.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Fred.
Yes.
All right, well, anyway, I'm glad I was able to get you back on the radio, even if it is only as a guest. You know, when they told me about this big-name broadcast, I told them it wouldn't be a big-name broadcast without you, Fred.
Well, in radio, Fred has been a 4-letter word for some time.
Yes. Oh, in fact, I insisted that they put you on this show.
You insisted? You met with some stiff opposition, did you?
Well, I had to go through channels.
Oh, say, I've read about those channels. But I had thought of coming back to radio if I could find a new formula or format, you know. I did get one idea, and strangely enough, it came from Portland. She seemed to think that
Mr. Allen!
Well...
Mr. Allen!
Well, as I stand here in feigned surprise, if it isn't Portland now. Portland, you're just... I have some more here. See, we didn't rehearse the audience. It says applause after this, but you see, well, we didn't rehearse. That's what makes me... So, Portland, you're just in time. This is Talulah Bankhead.
Hello, Portland. I'm glad to see you.
How do you do, sir?
Portland, I understand that you weren't on the first television show Fred did. Why was that?
Well, my dress wasn't cut low enough.
Oh, you mean a dress with a V-neck?
A TV neck.
Well, before this conversation gets too fey, Portland, how about telling Talulah the idea you thought of for a radio show for me?
Oh, I didn't think of it. Mama thought of it.
Oh, your mother is writing for radio now? Well, by the way, I was on television the other night, Portland. Did your mother see me?
Oh, she never could.
Ah, you mean that your mother thinks that
As Mama put it, to the high heavens.
Ad lib, a stinging retort.
Fred, you're reading the parentheses.
Ah, the parentheses, this jumbo type. Well, oh yes, well, Portland, enough of Mama as George G. Nothing. Now, how about this idea of hers for a radio show?
Yes, let's hear the idea.
The idea, Portland.
Well, Mama thought first you ought to have an announcer who's big and fat and jolly.
Yeah?
And laughs all through the program.
Yucks it up, huh?
And you ought to get an orchestra leader who's tall, good-looking, and eats ham hocks.
Ham hocks. Well, say, Portland, that sounds like,
And you have a young fellow who sings, and his mother always wants to pay him more money.
Singer, but Portland, that idea...
And you have a butler who drives your car, which is a broken-down Maxwell.
Maxwell, but...
And you have a quartet that sings your commercials.
Commercials, but...
And for your sponsor, you get a cigarette company.
Cigarette butts.
And you'll be the star of the show, Mr. Allen.
Oh, really? I can be in it too, eh?
Uh-huh. You wear a toupee.
Uh-huh, yeah.
You're always 39 years old.
Uh-huh.
You play the violin, and you do your own laundry.
Yeah.
And you have a washing machine that you rent out to your neighbors.
Say.
And you're very tight, and you keep your money down in the vault.
I'm sort of the pinch penny type, huh?
Yes, that's a wonderful title. You should call it the Pinch Penny Program.
Well, I don't know, Portland. What is the future in becoming a salesman for Jell-O? I mean, where could it go?
Well, what's the matter? Do you think Mama's idea revolutionary?
Well, it is a little revolting.
What do you think, Miss Bankhead? You haven't had any lines for a whole page.
I was wondering when you'd noticed, darling.
Do you think that kind of a program would go anywhere?
Yes, darling, to another network.
How about trying out this idea right now, Mr. Allen?
No, I don't think I could.
But Mr. Allen, what have you got to lose?
Face?
An excellent reason for doing it, darling. Now, on with the Pinch Penny program.
Pinch penny?
The Pinch Penny program. 30 minutes of hijinks with your favorite radio comedian, star of stage, screen, and laundry, Pinch Penny. Well, here it is, 7 o'clock, and Pinch Penny isn't here yet. I wonder where he can be.
Say, that always gets me. There's a guy who gets $25,000 a week for doing that program, and you know he's not going to be late. He's probably been standing there since noon with his bare money belt hanging out. Try another opening. Could you scare up another opening?
Okay. Well, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first show of the new season. And so we give you the star of our show, just back from an extended 3-month, 40-cent tour of Radio City, Pinch Penny.
Hello again, this is Pinch Penny, and Don Thomas, you know that's not true. You know I took a cruise to Honolulu. It was a wonderful boat trip.
Really? How did you go, Mr. Penny? First class?
Well, not exactly.
Second class?
Well, no, you see...
Third class?
Well, no, Donzy.
Well, then you must have gone steerage.
Steerage? Why, Don, how can you say that about me?
It's easy. Didn't you find it pretty crowded in steerage?
Don, for your information, I'll have you know I had the whole boat to myself.
What boat was that?
Well, it was one of those little boats that hangs over the side of the big boat.
Oh, so you went stowaway.
Yes, that's the class I was trying to think of. And it's the only way to travel, Don, with the wind and the spray in your hair.
Oh, yeah, your hair, Mr. Penny.
Well, I had it hanging over the side of the boat. Now stop that, Don!
Did you like Honolulu?
Oh, it's so colorful there, and I'll never forget the day we docked. All the little native boys standing on the pier, and the people on the boat throwing pennies into the water. And the way those little rascals dive in and fight to get that money,
They go all that they go to all that trouble for pennies?
Well, after all, Don, it's not taxable. No inheritance tax or anything. Liquid assets, you know, you just pick it out.
Now, Mr. Penny, don't tell me that you are...
Now, Don, please, after all, say where is everybody? Where's Dennis? I want to talk to Dennis about his song for our first show.
Oh, here he is. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Don. Mr. Penny, my mother thinks...
Hello, Dennis.
My mother thinks I get more money for this new season.
I said hello, Dennis.
Oh, hello, Mr. Penny. My mother thinks I get more money for this new season.
Now, later, kid. Now, look, for your first song this year...
My mother thinks I'm underpaid.
Your mother doesn't know what she's talking about. Now, for your first song...
Oh, what you said.
Now, for your first song...
My mother's the brains of the family.
Some brains. Now, look, kid, for your first
She
song...
was an undergraduate from the University of Southern California.
Come, louder.
I say she was an undergraduate from the University of...
Now, cut that out! I pay you ample salary.
You mean sample? My mother says that Bing Crosby makes as high as $50 a week, sometimes $75.
Well, Bing Crosby has a lot of interests. He's in the orange juice business. He owns a baseball club.
Where does he find the time for all that?
He makes movies. He owns a racetrack.
Where does he find the time for all that?
He has 4 sons.
Where does he find the time for all that?
Dennis, where?
Well, my mother says either I get money or I'll quit.
Well, goodbye, darling. Goodbye, Dennis.
Every time I open my mouth to quit, somebody says, goodbye, darling. All right, goodbye. And my mother says she's gonna send you back those pennies you sent from Honolulu.
Well, Mr. Penny, you don't mean you dove for pennies with those kids in Honolulu.
Well, the water was so delightfully warm, Donzie, and now I am in a spot. What am I going to do about a singer for the program?
Oh, don't worry about that. Singers are a dime a dozen.
They are? Where? Where can you get them for a dime a dozen? Where are the singers
There's a
a dime a
bunch of
dozen?
singers in a choral group here. Say, any of you boys want to sing on this program?
I'll sing.
All right, boys, step over here. What is your name, son?
Frankie Lane.
Frankie Lane? Frankie Lane. Well, that's not a very good stage name, son. If you want to get anywhere, but we'll change your name later. Sing, Frankie. Hold it, just a minute, kid. Come in.
Mr. Penny?
Yes, I'm Mr. Penny.
Mr. Penny, I'm making a survey of all the men in the district. What is your age?
39.
Well, we are making a list of all available men under 40. I'm from your local draft board.
Oh. Well, I've been meaning to talk to you guys on the draft board about that. Sing, kid.
Well, what about the money, Mr. Penny?
Money? Well, a dime a dozen, that would be 1/12 of 10 would be...
I had an offer to sing on television with Mr. Fred Allen, you know.
Oh, please, people are eating, please. But I'll tell you what I will do. I'll take an option on you and think it over, mull it over for a while, for 30 days. I'll give you an advance, okay?
Golly, that's fine, Mr. Penny.
How about 5?
That'd be wonderful.
Well, here you are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Penny.
So long, kid.
Golly, Indian heads. And they're so bright and shiny.
Where is everybody, Mr. Penny? We got to have a rehearsal for the show.
Well, Porchester should be here any minute with the scripts.
Well, here's Porchester now.
Oh, yes. Hello, Porchester.
Hey, yo, boss!
Now, look, darling, Porchester, did you finish typing the scripts?
Yes, sir, but I had a lot of trouble. It's tough to write on a typewriter with only 5 keys on it.
Only 5 keys on that typewriter?
Only 5 keys?
Well, what's the matter with that? I've done very well with those 5 letters.
Well, what 5 letters are they, Porchester?
L, S, M, F, and T. Well, it's looked like sending up smoke signals.
Well, it's a Corona typewriter, isn't it?
Mr. Penny, I think you're the funniest.
Oh, so you're the one.
Well, I wish the rest of the cast would get here so we could rehearse.
Well, Mr. Penny, I have the quartet here if you wanted to run over the commercial.
Commercial? We've no commercial. This is a sustaining
But
program.
we've already rehearsed it, Mr. Penny, haven't you, fellas?
But, fellas, we don't need a quartet. We've no commercial.
Okay, fellas, let him hear it.
But, fellas, no, boys, men, quiet! Now look, well. Another well, and I'll strike oil again. Look, fellas, I haven't got time for that now. I'm waiting for my clarinet teacher. He's supposed to be here. I'm going to call him up and see what's keeping him. Hand me that phone, will you, Porchester?
Here you are, boss.
Thank you. Hello, operator. What's the matter with those girls out there?
Mindy, Blue Eyes is flashing.
If they are, Ethel, it's the first time I ever saw them flash.
Did he give you a present when he got back from his vacation?
Yeah, he gave me a locket. Ain't it the beauty?
Oh yeah, an Indian head.
But it's nice though, isn't it?
Oh, they're a dime a dozen.
Oh, not these. They've gone up. They're 10 for a dime. But instead of bringing me expensive gifts, I sure wish he'd stop making up new rules.
Oh, Mindy, you're always telling me about your troubles. I have troubles too, but you never ask me how I'm getting along.
All right, Ethel. How are you getting along?
Don't ask.
And how are you getting along with Herman?
Don't ask.
Gee, I thought he was going to take you out Saturday night.
Didn't ask.
Why? I thought he had intentions.
Oh, sure, he's got intentions, but he don't want to get married.
Oh, man, you gotta hand it to them.
Not Herman. He takes it himself.
But what happened to the other fella? Yeah, what's his name? You know, Harry.
Oh, I could never marry him.
Why not?
Well, we used to ride home on the subway together, and I'd get off on 34th Street, and he got off on 23rd Street.
So what?
So I realized I could never marry a man below my station.
Say Ethel, he's flashing again.
Maybe we ought to answer. Hello? Hello? Yes, hello?
Say, what's going on out there? I want you to get my clarinet teacher on the phone for me and tell him to come right out here. What? Oh, all right, I'll give you one, too. Gold diggers, copper diggers, Indian heads she wants.
I'm back, Mr. Penny. My mother changed my mind.
Oh, she did?
But this is going to be my last season, because for next year, my mother's got me a contract with Metro Goldwyn Mayer for $1,000 a week.
1,000?
Woo! That's right, 1,000 a week.
Well, MGM signed a contract with you?
Ooh, signed a contract?
Now cut that out!
Have no fear, Meredith Harris is here.
Well, it's about time you showed up. Where were you?
Now take it easy, Dad. I'm here, ain't I? Where was it, you asked me?
Where was you? I said, where were you?
Okay, if you're gonna get geometrical about it, friendly be dandy. If I'd have known, I'd have brung you an apple.
It's not brung, it's brought.
Tell it to the morons. What goes on around here? How about the rehearsal?
Well, you have to wait until we get through with my clarinet lesson. Until my teacher comes, I'll do a little practicing. My teacher will be here any minute. He comes by bus, so it'll take a little while for him to get here.
I think I'll go down and have an ice cream soda.
I think I'll go down too. I'll have an ice cream soda with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down too. I can't stand any more of this.
Oh, come with us. You're gonna have a soda?
Yeah, I always take one jigger of soda. Gotta have plenty of room for the good stuff on top.
Cowards.
Mr. Allen!
Oh, you're back again, are you, Portland? Well, tell me, what did your mother think of the way we took off that sterling character she originated for radio?
Well, Mr. Allen, she doesn't think it's your type of program.
Oh, really?
She has another fellow in mind for it.
Mr. Livingston, I presume.
She has got a wonderful idea that would just fit you.
Another idea, really?
Uh-huh. She thinks you ought to have a program where you walk down an alley
Yeah.
and you talk to people you meet there,
Yeah.
like a Southern congressman,
Uh-huh.
an old farmer, and an Irishman.
And you tell a lot of old, surefire jokes. And I find myself broadcasting at the same time everybody else is listening to a quiz program someplace. I know what you mean, Portland. I'm not going through that again. No, sir.
Thank you so much for coming to our show today. We hope you had a wonderful time and managed to enjoy little trading places with Fred and Jack. We're still well into our 13th season. We're having a great time. We've got a couple of shows lined up for the rest of the season before we take a break for the summer. Our next show is entitled Who's Wearing the Pants? And it will actually star episodes of Fibber McGee and Molly and Gunsmoke. An interesting pairing, but yet it works. So you're going to have to come to our next show, which will be Sunday, April 26th, 2 o'clock, right here at the Oak Park Arms, to find out just how these two shows pair up and have in common. That's Sunday, April 26th, Who's Wearing the Pants? You can also visit our website, ttdyradio.com, for up-to-date information, and as well as the rest of our season. That's TTDY Radio, as in Those Thrilling Days of Radio. And now, for the cast of Those Thrilling Days of Yesteryear, John Corona, Tom Dingle, Amy Kennedy, Ken Ball, Suzanne Ogren, Margie Gustafson, R.J. O'Brien, R.J. Ogren, Tim Baker, Matt Gilbert, and Pam Turlow. Also, what radio show would be complete without the synchronous sound effects stylings of our sound effects team, Pam Turlow and John Corona. Also, special thanks to our musical magic of music, Don Yonkers. Today's show was transcribed by Ken Ball. Thank you very much, Ken. And I'm also your director and producer and Dennis Day, Ben Dooley. And special thanks also to our original Rochester, who couldn't be here today, but has been to every one of our shows, Dan Turlow. And also a special thanks to all of you for helping our radio show come alive and for living those thrilling days of yesteryear so that we could bring them back to you. Thank you. So I believe, Desi, we have juice and cookies? Yes, we have juice and cookies out in the lobby, in the lounge. Please enjoy. Oh boy, I know. Please come and we'll see you all at the end of April. Bye-bye.